Yeah, and then a belief that you understand, and that's why you seem relaxed.
No, I don't understand. I could never understand.
Yeah, but you even understand that.
I don't understand that. I mean, so it's not that I understand and you don't. If I was trying to understand something that fundamentally couldn't be understood, I would experience frustration, and that happened for years. Intense frustration at not being able to understand. And I looked out at the world and I saw these gurus and teachers, and I assumed that they understood, that they had finally broken through their frustration and reached understanding. So that was the illusion. The illusion was that I didn't understand and they understood.
So in a way, when you talk about, when you've talked about life without a centre, that's kind of what it sounds like, that you haven't found a centre point or a fixed point, that you haven't got a position where you say, I know that I don't understand, or I know that there's no one here to understand. You haven't. It feels like you haven't arrived anywhere.
Well, if I arrived somewhere, it would just be another story, wouldn't it? Like if I say I understand and you don't, or I don't understand and you do, they're both just stories, and no story is true in an ultimate sense. They're just concepts. They're just stories appearing. So I tell the story that Jeff understands, or I tell the story that Jeff doesn't understand.
So how can you stand floating around in this not knowing?
Well, I don't float around in the not knowing. I mean, the not knowing is what I am. It's what you are. It's what everyone is. Underneath all the concepts and the stories and the beliefs and the ideologies and the philosophies and the religions and all the spiritual ideas, underneath all of that, there's no way of knowing anything. Underneath all the stories, before the story of what this is, I have no way of knowing what this is, and neither do you.
But as humans, and it happened to you too, that as humans we have a motivation. Every human being, unless they're depressed or something, they have a motivation. And it sounds like in your past you were motivated to find out more about this. And I'm just wondering, would you say your motivation's gone?
Motivation to understand?
Or to do anything, to be successful, to understand, motivation. Do you have any motivation for anything?
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by the word motivation, but I would say the motivation to complete myself in the future has gone, because it seemed that was based on an illusion. Any motivation that was based on an illusion about who I was, obviously, has gone. So the motivation to complete myself in the future has gone, because what I am is already complete. It doesn't need to complete itself in the future. But of course, the motivation, motivation to eat, to dress, all of that still goes on. But I can't really say it's my motivation.
But the motivation to improve your life.
Well, then, I mean, you kind of have to distinguish between life and my life.
Yeah.
So life itself, what's happening in this moment. Sitting here, dogs barking, birds singing, feelings appearing, thoughts appearing, sensations happening, breathing, all of this is life. I mean, this is the reality. So this doesn't need to be improved,
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's life appearing as this. So life doesn't need me to improve life. But if you're talking about the story, the story of Jeff's life, the story of Jeff's past and Jeff's projected future, and Jeff's successes and failures and achievements, and Jeff's the whole of Jeff's story. Do I need to improve that? Well, of course. I mean, the story can always be improved.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never ending. So I would say the interest in that has fallen away.
Yeah. Because what lies behind motivation for me is wanting. And I wondered when you were speaking then whether wanting something to be different, or wanting in any area of life really, do it. And I know you're going to experience wanting, like an ice cream when you're hungry or something. But I mean, wanting to, for relationships to be better, or to have more money, or to have a greater understanding, or to be successful. Those kind of wants that seem to drive humans. Do you sense a wanting around that?
I mean, obviously, life still happens, and experiences happen, and relationships, and also, life goes on, and
if you wrote a new book and it was very successful, I'm sure that would give you some joy. And if it wasn't, disappointment. Would that happen for you?
I mean, the point is that those will just be experiences, So I'm not afraid of having any of those experiences. So even if there was an experience of success, and great, I get to experience that, but it's not going to fundamentally add to me. It's not gonna. Ultimately, it's not really my success. I can't really claim doership of that, And also, if I experience failure, well, it can't really detract from what I really am, So I'm not saying I wouldn't say I prefer to experience failure, because that would just be another concept. So I'm happy to experience success, or at least what the world calls success. I don't even know what that means really. But ultimately, it's out of my control. And this is the point. Ultimately, it's out of my hands. Yeah,
and you're not saying they're equal. Like a bad experience is equal to a good.
No, of course. I mean, that would be crazy to say that. I mean, the experience of being hacked to death by a chainsaw is probably is different in appearance, in the from the experience of having an ice cream. So from this perspective of life, they are completely equal. They're both just expressions of life. So from the perspective of the ocean, it's being hacked to death by a chainsaw wave, and eating an ice cream wave. So from that perspective, both experiences are made of the same stuff. They're made of the same consciousness. But of course, the experiences are different. I mean, at the same time.
But there are common sense preferences, aren't there?
Yeah. If someone asked me, Jeff, would you like to have an ice cream or be hacked to death by a chainsaw? I'd say ice cream, probably.
Yeah. Unless you wanted the other.
It depends on the flavours of the ice cream available. But so all of that goes on. So there's an intelligence here that just life takes care of itself.
So would you say that your perspective has changed, and you view life more as an observer or watcher, and watching it all happen, and you're not so identified with what's going on?